Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back with Timea Urban, better known as the Urban Healer. She's helping people all over the world with her Reiki services and so much more. Professional background as a nurse, and she's got it. She's got everything integrative, and she's here helping us in so many different ways. Please welcome back to the show today.
Hi, lovely being here. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. So for those that don't know the work you do, let's specify specifically the forms of things you can help people with. They're tuning in here today saying, hey, I may need this type of help. And she's a gem. She's a true gem.
Thank you. Thank you. So my name is Timea Urban. I'm based out of Toronto. I have a business that's fully virtual, so it doesn't matter where you are. I'm definitely here to help you. Professionally, I'm a registered nurse. I actually work this week at the hospital because I did an extra shift.
Oh, wow.
So still a nurse doing the thing.
Yeah.
And since then, I've integrated other holistic practices. So I'm a life coach. I'm a Reiki master, clinical hypnotherapist. I'm a yoga instructor. I teach meditations. I do all the little things that kind of come together as a beautiful package. My belief is that you can't just look at the human body from one perspective. You can't just heal one aspect of it. You really have to look at the physical, the spiritual, the emotional, the energetic side. And once you're able to do that, that's when everything gets brought together, integrated, and you actually see a big shift that is long lasting.
Beautiful. We're excited today to talk a little about mind power and what that is exactly and how that could really help us. So you say mind power is where true power exists. Can you explain this?
Absolutely. So you really have to check in with your mind and how you're thinking and how your mind works every single day. So your thoughts will determine your mindset, which then will determine how you look at the world. Because I mean, you can be a glass half empty, half glass full. This is hard. This is challenging. Or, hey, let's go with it. And it always works out. Your thoughts carry a lot of energy and vibration. So then it is going to affect your mood and your energy. If you're always looking at what's going wrong, and I mean, we all can list 100 things that aren't perfect, but if you focus on that energetically, you feel tired, you're drained, you're crusty, you're not living your best life. Your thoughts determine your mood and your emotions. So it's like, even if you've had a couple things happen that weren't ideal, like a lot of people had a super weird week, me included, but then I'm not like mulling over it. I'm kind of like, all right, interesting, cool, plot twist, let's keep going. So it's going to affect how you show up overall. And it will really determine your failure or success because your mind is so powerful, but I feel like we don't realize that. We don't use it to the fullest capacity. So it's just kind of this thing that's running and you're not even like fully tapping into what it can do for you.
Perfect. Well, it's exciting to have you here to talk about this topic. And, so your thoughts can create your failure or your success. Mm-hmm. If it was that easy, if everybody knew it, I mean, come on, people, get with the program. Mindset, mind power, it all goes hands in hand because I know we think a lot during the day.
Yeah, of course. So we have anywhere between 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts. Some people have more, some people have less. 80% of those are negative and 95% of them are repetitive. How terrifying is that?
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like, we don't realize that because you're on autopilot. It's just kind of running in the background. You're doing your own thing. You're busy being busy. Yeah. But then your thoughts are just running the show. And it's like, we either don't check in because we're so busy or tired, or we don't want to because it's ugly in there and you hear some bad things and you're like, I don't want to deal with this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it is for everyone. I don't think anyone has a perfect inner mindset. Like you need to clean it up, check in with it and be compassionate. But then that being said, you do need to check in and you need to see what is happening in there, because if you are not, then you might be hitting consistent obstacles and like shortcomings and failures, quotations, where you're not getting to where you want, but then it's because you haven't actually checked in with your mind and you're just trying to change your external world, but then your internal world. So your mind is always going to reflect into your outside world. So it's not the other way around where you're maybe pointing fingers and looking at what's wrong and like, why hasn't it changed? You have to look at what's going on in your mind. What are your beliefs? What are your thoughts? How do you view the world? And then work from there. And I think that's something that not a lot of people realize. And everyone jumps to, oh, I'll change my behavior. But then that's not changing the initial belief or the thought that created the behavior. So it's never going to last. And that's was a big breakthrough for me when I realized that, and realized that there's a lot of changes that I can make, and a lot of beliefs and thoughts I wasn't even aware of that were circulating through me. And it's like, oh, that makes
Oh,
sense.
wait. Oh my gosh. All right. Got it. Interesting. So now this whole concept of mind power, mindfulness, the word mind, you got me
Yes.
thinking now all these thoughts. I think I probably had about 1,000 during your little, our conversation
There you
here.
go.
Why is it really, so important? And I know there's a difference with the whole mind, the subconscious, conscious minds. Would you mind getting into that?
Absolutely. So words carry power, whether you think them, speak them, write them, they all have energy. We've talked about this a few times, and I'm obviously very passionate about this. So do you want to bring it up again? But essentially, when it comes down to it, is you really need to check in with what your goals and your desires are, and whether your thoughts and beliefs are supporting those goals and whether they're aligned. Because if they're not, you're never going to achieve what you desire. And that's unfortunate, because then it's like, if you're thinking, oh, my journey towards where I'm going is hard and I can't do it, or inherently you don't even think you're worthy of achieving that, then you're not going to. Your mind's like, okay, cool, we believe we can't do it, so we're not going to do it. And it's like, you don't realize that. So it's not just your conscious mind, because like consciously you might be like, I'm ready to date, I'm ready to meet my person, I'm saying my affirmations, check, check, check. And then subconscious mind, you're just like, I don't want to date. That's terrifying. Yeah. So then unfortunately, what most people don't know is your subconscious mind will always win. It's not your conscious mind. So it's like, you can't continuously try to change, like, I guess, the surface level thoughts. You have to actually go into the deeper realm, which is totally doable. And some people are like, oh, it's dark in there, I don't want to go there. No, it's not bad. It's actually sometimes a bit interesting to see how you actually truly feel and believe. And you're like, oh, wow, of course, this is what I'm manifesting, and it's not what I want.
And let me ask you now, when it comes to the subconscious and conscious mind, do you want to give us some examples of that?
Absolutely.
And the functions and how it all works and breeds?
Absolutely. And again, this is, I think, something that not a lot of people know. It's like, oh yeah, you're subconscious. It's like a catchphrase. It's kind of there. I don't know. And then it's like your conscious mind. Okay, cool. I kind of know what that is. So essentially, your conscious mind only takes up about 10% of your mind capacity. It's the part that you're actually aware of, which on a side note means there's 90% of your mind you're not tapping into. And that's wild. So like, let's please take a moment to take that in. So your conscious mind, it's logical, it's intellectual, it makes your decisions, it's how you communicate, organize, plan. It has to do with short-term memory. And this is how you're able to change your behaviors sometimes for like the short run when you use willpower. So you can power through things. But then overall, if your subconscious mind does not align with that, does not believe your behavior or your action, in the long run, you're not actually going to keep doing that. So, and I'll get into this in a moment, but like everyone's at the gym January 1st. No one's at the gym February 1st. So it's like, what just happened? It's like everyone was really pumped, consciously committed. I am doing it. This is the year. And then nobody goes.
All the gyms make so much money because no one's going anymore.
It's true. So your conscious mind is always going to be using reasoning, and it also does not depend on accessible information. So it's essentially this, like, it deals with it. So it just allows you to do the things you're doing without actually realizing the why or where it came from. It just like runs the show, but then who's actually programming it? So if you want to look at it from like a computer perspective, your conscious mind is like the computer screen, and it's just like whatever's running is on your screen, and that's what you see. But then it's not the program. So if the program gets changed or you do a system upgrade, then your screen changes, and that is what you're seeing. But again, conscious mind is what you see. It's your almost like how you show up externally, as well as like what you're aware and taking in. So then your subconscious mind, on the other hand, it is like the hard drive of the computer.
I know, you're like, oh my gosh. I'm thinking of all the things that, the subconscious mind does. And if it's 90% of our mind, it's like every involuntary action. I'm talking to you. It just so subconsciously cool.
Absolutely. No, it is. So it is the hard drive and it is the programming, which good news, you can reprogram, reformat, get a system upgrade, which is some of the techniques that I'm going to talk about. So it's not necessarily stuck in that way. But then again, your subconscious mind, it can be the things we never think of. Your heart is beating, you're breathing, you're digesting. It can also be things like your feelings and your emotions, your beliefs, your attitudes, your creativity, your intuition, habits, addictions, patterns, like huge. And it also comes down to your values. So this is created between the ages of 0 to 7. Okay. So what's unfortunate slash concerning about it is it depends what kind of 7 years did you have as a child? Who was around you? Who taught you life? What, like, did you watch TV? Did you have a loving family? Did you go to a school where your friends were kind to you? Like, what did you pick up? And when you're a child, your brain is just a sponge and it's like whatever I hear is truth and I'm going to take it in. But then unfortunately, you sometimes take in things that are not true. So it's like, oh, I'm not lovable, or like, oh, well, the kids are teasing me, so I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And then it's like you hold on to that and then you just kind of like go through life believing that to be your truth, but it's not your truth. It's just something that you happen to pick up at that time. And again, it's like between the ages of 0 to 7, your mind's not developed. So you might pick up something that doesn't even make sense, but because you're so little, you're just like, okay, I guess so. And you don't have the analytical part of your conscious mind that's developed, because your brain will develop until late teens, early 20s. So it's like your brain's not even done growing, but then it's picking up information and then just taking it in as if it is what it is, and I'm taking it in. And then that makes it concerning, because then you're going to pick up certain beliefs that are not true. And if you're not aware of that, it is just your life and that is your truth, and you carry on, and then you repeat patterns. You see the same issues continuously come up. You have the same struggles, and it really determines what kind of life are you going to have. Do you believe life is hard and you have to struggle? Or do you believe that life is beautiful, abundant, trusting, and you just like dive into the goodness? Because the world is the same for everyone, but what path are you taking? And it's like, I did not know this. Like, I found this out in my like early 30s. So I'm just like, crap, wish I knew that earlier. Oh, you get to decide. And there's some beliefs I can just let go of and they're not truth. So this is like my deep passion of just merging science, neuroscience, your brain, like mindset, like all these practices to make you realize you get to decide how life is.
Got it. All right. That's interesting, because there's many things that really we could benefit from, all the different types of work that you do, the EFT, the tapping, we'll get to that. So do you want to give us any more examples and talk a little bit about that, and then what we can do to, what needs to change in a sense?
Absolutely. So I feel like perfect example as the gym came up. So you want to get fit, you want to work out, you want to be stronger, you want to feel good in your body. And I mean, like, summer is around the corner. We're all thinking it like, okay, I'm going to be ready. So in your conscious mind, you're going to use logic and you're going to want to change your behavior, because that is an external thing. And, I have to change my actions to get the results that I want. And that's how we've been taught. It's like, oh, you want to lose weight, do a diet. And it's like, okay, action. But that's not how change happens. So initially you might be like, all right, I'm going to work out, I'm going to meal prep, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to stop drinking alcohol, I'm going to sleep more, I want to look a certain way, this is the weight I want. And it's like, I'm going to feel so great, I got this. And then you're motivated and you do the things. But then in your subconscious mind, you're just like, really? Working out is hard.
I like that.
I don't like it. It's true. Like, it's literally, and that's how I imagine it. It's like your conscious mind's like, we're going to do this. And your subconscious mind's like, that's stupid. We're not doing that.
Yeah, maybe not.
And then, and crash and not happening. So then in your subconscious mind, you're also thinking like, I don't got time for this. I don't want to eat healthy. That's boring. It doesn't taste good. I failed before. Why do I even bother? Like, I don't want to disappoint myself. And it's like, you start really diving into those inherent beliefs of how you have, and then the pattern that you've always lived, and you just get caught back into that. And then it's like, it always comes down to something bigger. So it's like, do you feel safe to be seen? Because then it's like, if you look a certain way, you might get more attention. And that's something that's horrible for some people and they don't want to be seen. And it's like, do you feel worthy to like love your body? Because inherently you don't work out for abs. You work out so your body's healthy, nourished, and you can like age gracefully and not be like having all these health issues when you're older. So it's like, why are you doing it? And it's like maybe in the other way, it's like you're doing it for attention.
Some people want abs just because they want abs. They want to show off, right? I mean,
but that's fine too. It's like you do you. You know what I mean? I'm like zero
Yes.
judgment. Get your abs. It's totally fine. But then it's like there are going to be people who are like, I have to look a certain way because if I don't look perfect, I'm not lovable. But then it's like, that's not true. You're lovable because you are. So then it like, there's like layers of beliefs that are like kind of underneath everything. And again, it's like your conscious mind is the top 10%, and then your subconscious mind is all the rest, the foundation. So if your foundation isn't set properly, everything's going to crumble. So it's like, again, this is how it's like interesting because like in psychology, this is like a well-known fact, but you can't just change a behavior. You have to change the initial like thought pattern and the belief that created the behavior, which then created the action.
Got it.
Make sense? So then it's like, again, it's like we're not tapping into the full capacity of our mind and our brain because we're trying to just get to the thing. But then it's like, you gotta like pave the path first. And like, it's almost like you're building a house and you're like, I'm going to start at the roof. And it's like, no, you're not. Like, where's the structure? There's what? That like the roof is going to collapse. Like that doesn't make sense. But that's how we do things. So again, it's like, check in with yourself. What are you trying to create? And then just think about the thought pattern that lies underneath it. And it's like, do you feel like you can create it? Are you scared you're going to fail? Are you scared you're going to be successful and then mess it up? Are you scared that you're going to be criticized? Like there's layers and layers and layers underneath it, which again, it's like we're not tapping into the full capacity of our mind. And we're almost like leaning into just the surface level, but then we're upset when we don't get the results that we want. So there you go. You are not using your mind to its fullest capacity. And you want to make sure that you change the root of it, so the belief, which then allows you to change your thoughts and how you view the world and how you show up. And then you fall into this beautiful synchronistic flow where it just happens.
But some people fall into that negative spiral.
Yeah. Or they just give up. And it's like, it's like, if you don't have the fuel to keep you going, and like the fuel comes from the inherent belief that you have. So if you don't have that to keep you going, your willpower will taper off. Your subconscious mind will always win.
Got it. All right. So let's start with a few things, right? You said, firstly, is this a fact? Is it true? Am I lost here? Training yourself to think. Okay. Training.
So your mindset, you want to start with your mindset and you want to check in with your thoughts. And that always starts with just notice, because going inside is a little hole. And that's why some people are like, I don't know how to meditate. And they're just like, I just don't want to hear the chatter because it sucks. That was me. Took a long time. Didn't enjoy it. So go within. So start by noticing. And then you want to like check in. It's like the thoughts that you're having. Is it true? Is it a fact? Because sometimes we create stories and we jump to conclusions. And then it just goes into like a big spiral. And I'm not judging spirals. I spiral and I've done the work. So it's like, I'm still in the work. It never just ends. So I just want people to know that I'm like, I feel you. It's not comfortable sometimes. Just saying, I'm real too. But notice where you're being negative. Notice how you're being hypercritical. And then just consider, how can I be kinder and more compassionate? And it's like, if you think of yourself either as a child, like, would you expect a 7-year-old to deal with this so easily and just get over it? No, you'd be nice.
I have a 7-year-old. So you keep mentioning that. I'm thinking where his frame of mind is. Yeah.
There you go. But then it's like, you're also, if you have someone that you truly love in your life, like, would you expect them to do it all? Or are they allowed to have a bad day? Are they allowed to not get it all done? Like, you wouldn't judge people to that level. So it's like that compassion piece. It makes your journey so much kinder, sweeter, easier. It's like, we're just hard on ourselves. So just like, how can you be nicer? Be a nice person to you, please. So that being said, I'm not saying ignore the hard stuff. I'm not saying spiritually bypass or ignore the feelings. I'm just saying notice your default setting of your mind and the autoplay that's going on and on and on, and then see if you can tweak it a tiny bit. And usually it's not like you go from, oh my God, I don't like my body, to like, oh my God, I'm just going to be naked all day, every day, which please do. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you do baby steps. And it's like you celebrate the baby steps as you change your mind and how you think. And that's beautiful. And that's enough, because we always have like, that wasn't a big enough change. There you go.
My mind. You're beautiful.
I was ready for the singing.
I can't sing, but I always have a song when I talk to you, it comes to mind.
Always. I love it. There you go. And then another technique that I'm absolutely obsessed with, which is like most of my life coaching, is based on neuro-linguistic programming. So neuro, your brain, linguistic, language, programming, you're just reprogramming your subconscious mind. And this can be anything between going to the root causes of what your limiting beliefs are. It can also take another route of going into like hypnosis. So again, talking to your subconscious mind, resetting it. But you need to make those changes from like a root perspective. So like the part of your mind you can't just access. And unfortunately, this is something that you do need someone to help you with. I can hypnotize myself, but that's because I'm a professional and I know how to script it and say it, and then I record it and I listen to it. But I wouldn't be able to hypnotize myself by just sitting here. So that being said, it's like sometimes we do need a little bit of help, and that's okay. It's like if you get someone to like look at it from a different angle, like if your car breaks down, you're not going to be like, well, I'm just going to fix it. You're just like, no, I'm going to the mechanic. Yeah. It's like you're having an issue with your tooth. You're not going to be like, well, let's Google it. It's like, no, you go to a dentist. So it's like, if you're having issues with your mindset and your thoughts and how you feel, and like, you know, you're struggling with those beliefs, go see somebody. Like, that's what I did. Like, I didn't just like show up here and be like, everything's great. I asked for help, and that's okay. So just want to like remind people that that's something that is always there for them.
Beautiful.
And then with mantras, so a mantra is a phrase or an affirmation that you can repeat over and over again. And this is kind of like taking away the negative and then replacing with something positive. We have a thing called a negativity bias. So you're always going to remember the bad. And if you think about it, it's like any negative situations, comments, they stick like Velcro and you remember them. I mean, if there's like one in like 1,000, but then with the positive stuff, it like glides off like butter on a warm skillet. It does not stay. It's just like gone. And you're like, oh shoot. So unfortunately, you have to say the positive over and over and over and over and over again for it to actually stick.
Okay.
But then with mantra work, this is a way of allowing you to have that gentle transition of, oh my God, you messed up again. Oh my God, you didn't do this. Oh my God, you failed. Being like, you know what? I'm doing my best. Today I did my best. Today I did my best. Today I did my best. And you just keep continuously repeat it until I don't like the phrase like fake it till you make it, but you slowly like start to believe it as you continuously say it over and over again. So for a couple options that people can maybe repeat is, I will focus on what's working, because there's always something that is okay. And it's like, is it a roof over your head? Is it the fact you have running water? Like there's something you can be grateful for. And then perhaps I meet resistance with kindness. So rather than like freaking out and crying is totally okay, but allowing it to be like, okay, well, this is not ideal, but you know what? Let's figure it out. And one of my personal favorites is, I've done enough. I am enough. Because I feel like everyone at some point in some way has a I'm not enough wound. For some people, this drives them to be wildly successful and they are type A and everything is like good to go, but they're exhausted.
And you're
like, yeah, no, it's true. I mean, like it can show up in like a good way, but inherently there's people who are such overachievers that nothing that they achieve is enough. So they go for the next one and then the next thing and then the next thing. And then they're just unhappy. So it's like, just know you are enough and you've done enough, and then just be with what you have, enjoy it. And then when you feel called, do more.
Okay.
So those are some of those little mindset tricks that I love to share. There you go. And then the last two I was going to talk about is tapping EFT. This is a really easy, quick way for you to energetically and physiologically. I know you're tapping
me. I don't remember
now.
Where, but you did
all of it. I did. There you go. You can catch one of our previous episodes for that. I also have a self-guided tapping tutorial. So if anyone's interested to learn how to tap, you can tap with me. It is on my website. So that being said, it's like you're tapping on these energy points and there's meridians that run through your body. And you first say the things that you don't want to say, things you don't want to acknowledge, but you bring that to the surface, shift it, release it, really process it. So you're creating a space. And then you start tapping on the thing that you actually want and desire because you've done the work and you created the space. So then you start tapping on the thing you do want and it has somewhere to go. Okay. So then this is a beautiful way of relaxing your mind, relaxing the body, reducing your cortisol, tapping into the parasympathetic nervous system. So then you can reprogram those beliefs.
Got it. And boy,
there you go.
You're on a roll. Woof.
I am. Wow. Can you tell I'm passionate about this? I'm just like, guys, there's tools. Use the tools.
Perfect. And in closing today, what else do you want to share about your services and how we can reach out?
Absolutely. So you can check out my website. It's theurbanhealer.ca, CA because I'm in Canada, but I have international clients everywhere. Actually, what's funny is most of my clients are in the States. No idea how that happened. Thank you. I'm open to it. But know that I do have a couple of new upgrades on my website. So you can check out some of the programs I have, whether you want to do the self-guided or whether you want to join me live. I have an 8-week hypnosis program right now. So let me hypnotize you every week to reprogram your brain, literally beginning to end, and reset everything. And I do have a couple spots left if you want to work with me one-on-one and actually do a deep dive, 3 months weekly, and we uncover all of your limiting beliefs, all of your previous issues, concerns, things that you feel like are holding you back. And then we just slowly put it all back together so you can create a life filled with joy and exactly what you want. There you go.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for some great conversation again. And where's the dog? I didn't see the dogs today. Wait.
I know one dog is traded and the other one is with his dad. So I have a little alone time.
Good. Well, you enjoy your day and your weekend, and pleasure speaking with you as always. Mwah.
Thank you.
Bye, sweetheart.
Take care. Bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.